Okay, hello. I see there's one person connected. I'm gonna actually get some water because I don't have any water. So just give me a second. Hi, everyone. The people that are connecting now or will be connecting later. I hope you're doing well. And I'm excited to do this open transmission. It's been for a while that I've been feeling doing it, and for some reason I haven't. And yeah, today felt like the right day. There's a lot I want to speak about. I don't know if it's a lot actually, but something I really want to speak about. And yeah, I think this is part of the transmission when I'm giving these thoughts and ideas. But basically, according to the new time energy and the elements that go in with the new time energy, with everything, we're going into, or we started in this quarter being, this is an air year, and we're going into the quarter of air. So we're going into air. And I know there's like a lot of people that have been saying it's going to be really hard these coming months or a lot of craziness. And I'll link this to air. Air, our air element, is our minds, our thoughts, etc. So when we're on air, if we have that balance, that's okay. Our mind is part of our consciousness. It's something that, with our mind, we can become aware. But if that is out of balance, we get really stuck into duality, into different perceptions. So that's where air comes in, and it can become really dangerous because people can have their thoughts really stuck into, into their own ideas and cannot actually see anything else. And that feels part of like the duality that is going on in the world at the moment, where people are very, what it seems anyways, people are very stuck to what they believe, to their beliefs, and many are not able to open up, to listen, to try and understand, to start seeing that there's so many perceptions. And the most important thing is that we're constantly creating. With every thought that we have, we are actually creating our reality. So with every thought, before an action, there's a thought, and with every thought, we are creating, or we're jumping onto like a timeline, we're creating that reality. So we have to become really aware of our thoughts. What happens is that because our mind is so crammed up with all these thoughts and ideas, we don't actually have time to, or we don't have the, let's say, like the hardware to start looking at our thoughts and pinpointing them. So it's important that we take time to, without any judgment, but really acknowledge what it is. Many times we don't want to recognize what it is that we're looking at, what we're thinking, or what it is that we're feeling. Um, but all of those thoughts, when we start looking at those thoughts, it's the conditioning that has been the way that we have been conditioned. So all those patterns that we have, that are creating our current reality. And for us to expand our consciousness, we need to be able to look at these thoughts that will start undoing and unraveling all our conditioning. When we do our sessions here, like what I do when I'm doing a transmission, a lot of the conditioning, which is at a cellular level, just sort of like falls away, because it's stuff that we have so much conditioning and so much stuff that we're ready to let go, that we don't really need to become that much aware of it. It can just go. There is other stuff that is important for us to look at, and because it's like it's the very key, like conditioning or patterning that makes us repeat that same wheel. It's that same rock that we always stumble upon. And it's also like, and once we're like can recognize that conditioning, we're stepping out and we're expanding. We're stepping out of a reality and jumping into a new one, expanding our consciousness. So there's sometimes, it's when we think about conditioning, sometimes we don't actually know like where to start looking. But I wanted to say some examples, which are very, very key, I feel like. Because we have this conditioning, we can't find our truth. And our truth is that we all come from essence, and that we are all this divine consciousness. And that's what we're going back to. So, okay, the one key conditioning, which is very strong, and which I, have had to, become aware myself, and really become aware and really start like expanding and opening, is there's this idea that, these conditionings don't have to be for everyone, but I'm going to say the ones that I have experienced, that I can see, that I can, transmit as examples, so we start looking. But it's this idea that there's not enough, there's not enough for everyone. So we have to start looking at how we, there's this seed planted of greed on earth, where, okay, it starts with the idea of like, I don't know if it starts there, but it's like the idea of money, for example, and not being enough money, and being greedy, having to hold on money. And like when we're going to go pay for things, we might be paying, but might be thinking, oh, this is so expensive. Oh, I don't want. So like that's the, you're giving your money, but the thought behind is like, oh, this is so expensive, or is it really worth it? And those things are the things, the thoughts that we need to be paying attention to. Because if you're paying with that vibration behind, the vibration of greed behind it, or of like, not really wanting to give your money because you're not that certain, then you're creating that reality for yourself of not having enough. If you, on the other hand, start paying, or like, giving, I don't know, paying, and you're giving, vibrating, like when you're paying, you're doing it with a joy, with a respect for the work that people do, or what, like, even if you're buying a coffee, you're paying with that, like with a joy and the respect of that person that made you the coffee, or even further, whoever was like, planting the coffee beans, or that changes completely. And then you're creating a reality where there's a healthy relationship to money, but overall like a a natural flow, a healthy flow of abundance in your life. Um, that's what I mean with the thoughts, because every thought is a vibration. So everything we do, we can do things, but how is it that we're doing it? How are we vibrating behind it? Um, so, anyways, this idea that there's not enough and is like, and when we're, or this like greediness that can come out, it's like we have to look at really where that is coming from, and when we feel that or when we see those thoughts, to start becoming aware of them, because those are the thoughts that are going to create for ourselves more greed, or it's going to bring us less stuff or less joy, give it whatever, less joy, less things, less, or the opposite. Um, there's also um, when you start when you start like being able to pull away from that conditioning, you realize that everything is really energy, um, and that energy just flows. So the moment that you're trying to hold on to that, you're actually blocking that flow, you know? Um, naturally, if you're like allowing for things to come and go, and for example, what I do, I'll like out of, and this is not something that, makes me really good or that people have to do, but this is naturally like what I've felt that I've had to do, especially working with, because sometimes we need to like play games to break patterns, and it was like much like money would come in and I would give out to like a cause or something that I was really um I wouldn't say really passionate about, but that was like that would make me happy to give to, and I've been doing that, and that was like, and I'll just keep flowing, and I know that's like a flow, and that whatever I give, it'll return, and so it's a constant remembering of this flow, allowing it to flow, and an appreciation. Also, putting that money and stuff where in places where I appreciate it too. Um, Also, another um, conditioning that is worth looking at is that these are things that just pop, that I'll be seeing or becoming aware. Um, and it's, um, like we look at people that have like in our society, because that we're conditioned by this big machine that like so attached to money and what you have, that we look up to those people that have been able to like that have big jobs, that have been able to make a lot of money, and those are the people that we sort of like admire and appreciate, whereas we give, I think, little acknowledgement to those that are really in service, that are really like, so for example, at moments now where we have people like in the, I don't know if you call it the medical service, but nurses and doctors, and then people in firefighters, and all these people that are in the front lines are like assisting, and they're really people that are in service to every other person on earth, um, and maybe beings on earth as well, and it's, I don't know if I really appreciate it that much or looked up to their work that much. It's always been really the conditioning behind, or at least how it was for me. It was like, oh, look at all those people, like the people that make a lot of money, those, or that have big companies. And those are the people that are um, really the ones to look up to be like. And there was no appreciation for all these other people that were really working out of their hearts and giving their time, their dedication, everything to the rest of humanity. And that is just really interesting to look at, and like, oh, if we're conditioned in that way, what sort of world are we living in? What are we giving importance to? Hmm. And then there is this other uh, idea that like it amazes me, like because we think of the word like poor, and when people are poor, and poor in our world is associated in our minds and how we've been conditioned or patterned to think is something sort of like sad or bad to be poor. But it's like always like so like somebody that is poor, like it's something bad, and then somebody that like breaks something, poor him. So it's like imagine you break a bone, oh poor him, or something goes bad, poor him. So poor is associated with in our mind, in our duality, with something bad. Um, Therefore, not having money is with something bad, you know, like you're lacking something. Whereas it's really interesting because I would always, since I was young, I've traveled into many places, and I've traveled to places where um, people had very little. They were economically countries that were economically um, really poor, had very little, and people had little to eat. Um, Such as like different African countries or India or like Cuba. And but I would always see, and even like countries after war, like I've been to all the area of like um, former Yugoslavia and stuff. And I would see all these people, and they were amazingly abundant to me. They didn't have um, in terms of economy, money per se. They didn't have any, but the joy that I could see they had, and the openness, the allowing, like to give. There was because they had nothing to lose. They had already broken that pattern of conditioning, that like greed, that you need to keep, that you're going to be like stolen from, or and it was, and that is mind breaking when you start looking at that um already in our words we can find how we're patterned and conditioned. So like, oh, you know poor, if you think you're poor, then you can't be happy, and that is completely like um I would say a lie. you know it's completely a perception, an idea, and it's these ideas that get into our mind that we need to start um observing and letting go of, or yeah, really letting go of these patternings, because these are limitations. They limit us to going in the same path and not being able to find other ways. So yeah, in order to expand our consciousness, to keep coming and expanding our consciousness and giving space to our mind, that we can look more and further into, fall more into the essence that who we are, we need to start looking at these limitations and breaking them. And for the time now, where we, if you're looking at this anyways, at some point, it's because you're opening up to something, and you probably have to hold the space for, for society, um, because you basically can vibrate higher than maybe who you have around you, and you can bring that vibration up so that we're holding the space for everyone, and everyone keeps evolving in that way. um, yeah, so the idea is that we want to start breaking those limitations in the mind, expanding our consciousness, and coming into the heart space. And from this heart space, we integrate everything that we are. We're letting go in this process that we're going to go now in this energy transmission. We let go of all of that which we no longer need, and we integrate and bring back all of ourselves meaning our higher consciousness, or all of our spirit, back into our hearts and into anchor it here on earth. I hope this was clear. I welcome, of course, questions and clarifications. We're going to go into energy transmission now. I feel like it's going to have a lot to do with, well, obviously, it always has a lot to do with opening our consciousness and coming into the heart. But because I specifically spoke about these ideas of, the conditioning around, it's pretty much everything I said was the conditioning around abundance on this earth, where we have been conditioned in a way where we're always feeling non-abundant, like we don't have enough, like we're not enough, and we don't allow for the energy to flow naturally, so that there is enough for everyone, so that everyone is enough, so that we can appreciate one another, because it is so important. We all come down here with so we're all source, but we come down here and have a mission to carry out, or we have like a piece of that essence to carry out our mission or missions on earth. So there is, when you look at it in that way, everything has a divine plan and there is space for everyone. And once we let this flow and organically start resonating with another, it just becomes this beautiful picture where it's basically there's space for everyone. So in order for that to happen, it is these conditionings that we have to release. The idea that we can't really do what we love to do. That's another thing, because we're told to have a 9 to 5 job, that you need to work in a company, to be able to make money. If not, you won't have money, if you have do your own things. And these are all like conditionings that I've had to look at myself and realize and break to be able to even do this work. I myself had so much conditioning about, first of all, not trusting this work. Am I good enough? And I have to be, what? How can I do this and not? And then the idea of no, I have to work in a company. I used to work in business before, or international organizations and things like that. And in my mind, I was conditioned and patterned that was the only way that I could actually make a living, or that I could actually even be sort of respectful, or respected or something like that. But it takes it takes wanting to really look at things to start seeing these. But this work, luckily, starts bringing things up as well, so we can start seeing them. And it is amazing. It is really incredible, because every step of the way and every conditioning we break, every pattern we become aware of and change, or it allows for more of our truth to come back. And I don't think there is anything better than that. That's when we're gaining our freedom, our real sovereignty, and we're able to be here on earth we're able to be who we really are here on earth. We're I don't know, we fall back in love with ourselves, because that's the thing. We only need to really love ourselves, and once you love yourself, you can love everything else. Okay, so I think we can go into the transmission now. So if you're watching this, you can just close your eyes and lay down and get comfortable. And as always, just start going into your breath, breathing in And breathing out, letting go. Breathing in and breathing out, letting go. Without anything to do, just connecting to your body and to your breath, knowing that in every breath in, you're taking in new life. And as you breathe out, you let go. And just allowing to feel the connection with your breath and your body as you might be able to notice the energy and how your body starts relaxing into this process without anything to do. We will be calming the mind, allowing for the mind to calm. And to bring all the energy of the mind down into the heart and into the earth. And Karasarano Arane Arayarano Marate Arasarano Arate Aranako Arane Asarano Maratarane Arano. Breathing in, breathing out. Asharana marate arano marana sarano arane rako marana marate arano marane arano marane arano marane arano marane. Sarano marawe amara kasarana marate arano arana marate arano arana sarano marano 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 Breathing in. Sharanamarakoa kakasaramarako makarake saranamarako makarake arano maraka 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 maraka. Sharana marane arako amarata sarano marayaranea koaranea sarano maratearanea koarana sarano maratearano yaranea marakawaranea marasarano marakoaranea sarano marana marakoaratarania sarano maratearano marako marateara sarana. Sharana marateara no koarata sarana karateara namarata sarana marakoa marateara la sarano korama karateara no marateara no marateara no marateara no marateara no marateara no marateara. Okora makora kakara totsora nakora tatora nakara ko makara sara namara koara kokora neara tosara namara ko marakata tasara no marateara nakawara neara sara no maraka. Breathing in, breathing out. Allowing for everything to just go. Sharanomara toarane arakoara saranomara koa saranomara diaranomara kosorane aranomara te aranomara koa saranomara te aranomara koara saranomara koa. Breathing in, breathing out into the body, into your feet. Feeding your feet into the earth. You might be able to sense that this earth has everything. You are not lacking anything. You are perfect in your divinity, yes. Breathing in and breathing out, letting go. Yananera komarete arano sarana maraka marate arana sarano korete arana marate arasarano maro. Breathing in, yes. Otera niaria makara sara no maratera no maratera no maratera no maratera no. Ishira neara ko amarata sara no marateara ko yara neara no maratea sara no. Omarateara ne sara no. Omarateara no sara neara 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 neara. Sara no ya teara neara neara. Feeling the energy around your body and within your body. Realizing that you are not only your body, but much more than the body. The space around and the space in between. Breathing into the heart, into the back part of the heart chakra. Saranam Maratera, Suranam Maratera, Ko Maratera, Saranam Maratera, Noyaraka Maratera, Saranum Maratera. Breathing in. Grounding all this into the earth, really present with the earth, going down into its core. Noticing if your body needs to move anyway. Aparatara no sarano koratara no maratara sarano maratora kora nera no sarana maratara no marakaria na korana. You're integrating consciousness from very far away. Asarano maratearana kasarana nuaratearana riakarane. You have nothing to do. Asarano maratarana romakaratearana na na na. Just allowing it. Atarana sarana maratearane arane 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 arane. And grounding it into this earth. Into your heart, into your belly.
Asarano arakawa mare sarano maratoara ne aratoa sarano karakoa maratearano marakoa sarano marateara ne arakoa arakaka sarano marakakara ne aratuara na tuara kakara sarano marakara tearano arakasarano marateara tataro makara tasarana Omarateara no marakasarana marakara kara kumakara sarana miarata toarana koara ne sarana parakara teara no marateara sarano marateara no. You are not your conditioning. Asura nakara ko marateara na tata sarano marateara no koara nakaka ora kara kiara na ko marata sarano kora kara ne ara toara ne ara sarano marakeara ne ara toara ne ara toara ne ara toara ne. Bring all this energy back into the body. Asura neara koara neara sura neara komara teara nakare atiara no asara nakakare atiara no koara teara nasara no mara teara no koara teara no yara teara sara no mara kiara neara tu mara teara sara no. Breathing in and breathing out. Grounding down into this earth. Really feel like you're melting into earth. And appreciating all its gifts. This abundant life, this abundant energy that it is. And feeling, if you can, earth in every cell of your body. Every part of your being. So it completely fills you up with new coding and information. And it expands your body, your field. Your presence. Appreciating every cell. You might feel your skin tingling or your body getting stronger. And you might feel a lot more aligned or in balance with a more clear mind and a more open heart and more present. And it is important at
this time to hold this vibration for everyone, for yourself, of course, but if you're doing it for yourself, you're holding it for the rest. We are like um, vibrating out and radiating out um, that which we are. So it is so important to sustain this for this moment that humanity is going through, in this moment that is harder, that where there's a lot of turmoil and duality, for us to stay connected, to stay in this space of releasing the mind back into the heart. And, staying in this expanded focusness, or focused expansion, where there's no right or wrong in a way. Where we go further than this duality. And, to catch ourselves in this time that's coming, these months, where I was saying it's air. So it's a lot focused on a mind and the potential of an overactive mind. Really focusing on extremes or really going over like one, receiving a lot of ideas and only and like focusing on one single path, like right versus wrong. And so really, um, stopping ourselves and being able to observe the mind. And many of those thoughts, which might not be ours, well, they're the conditioning or they're from the collective, to be able to, this is a simple exercise, very simple exercise, to send them back to where they came from. Don't allow the thoughts that are not your purest essence, the thoughts that you don't want, don't allow them into your reality, into your field. So if a thought comes, you don't want it, or you're persistent, your mind is persistently overactive thinking about a topic which is of a negative, let's say of a lower vibration that you don't want in your field. You don't want it in the mind, you don't want it in your body. You don't, because if you have it in your mind, it's going to affect your body and it's going to affect the field. And if you don't want it, you're responsible for it. And this is very simple. You send it back strongly, just like this, you send it back to where it came from. And you call back your own power. You call back your own energy. Calling back your inner energy is calling back essence, calling back source to oneself. And if you're doing this, you're doing, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I thank you so much for doing it, because you're doing it for yourself to be in a better state, but you're doing it for the whole. Like, we need to understand how important every single one of our thoughts is for the whole. And I believe that, like, for us, making that intention and doing it makes the shift. It's that is what changes, what is going to change our reality. So, yeah. So it is just that when something comes our way, we just send it back. We know what is ours and what is not, or what we want to, where we want to vibrate or where we don't want to. I had angry thoughts last week, and I had to be really clear with myself with this and send all that energy back and not allow it into my field. I'm not going to let those thoughts, and I'm not going to feed them even more. I'm not going to allow my air to get overreactive, to go to extremes and overfeed that, because I know what I'm creating then. I'm going to create more of that reality. That is very simple. Like, one thing we can do, another exercise we can do when we wake up in the morning, it's get in contact with your heart. Put your hands in your heart. You can do it now and just caress, your heart chakra, the inside, caress your body, caress your being, and feel thankful for the air you're breathing, for the body that you are living in that carries you here. Try and be thankful, be grateful for things, because that's going to open up space, open up the heart, and open up the positive thoughts and the potential to create that positive reality, or that more harmonic, balanced reality. So, yeah, catch yourselves when you're out of balance, and the thoughts are going really extreme or crazy, and bring yourself back. Send those back and bring yourself back to this presence, this alignment. Call your pure essence back. I think I'm done. I don't know if any of you want to share on the chat something. Who is it that is here? Just to say hi to you, so I know who it is. Okay, I don't know if you actually can. Yeah, there's a live chat, right? I think. Anyways, it was. Hola, Laura. Me alegro de que estés. Gracias. Espero que estés bien, Laura. ¿Cómo estás? Está bien, no te preocupes. Estabas en el momento perfecto. ¿Cómo te sientes después? ¿Bien? Okay, so I am gonna go now. I love you all very much. I am thankful for giving your time to this. And, sometimes it's hard for me to share and open like this, because I like having, I don't know, more like when we're a close group and then more interaction and stuff like that. Um, but I actually do have a lot to say and I want to share. So I'll be sharing more, but I also want to do closed groups, and specifically on these topics that I'm speaking about, where we go really deep down into certain topics. I really want to go down into this um, idea of abundance and what is crippling our abundance. What conditioning is back there, and really unraveling that. So yeah, I'll keep you posted when I do any of those. But if you have any questions, please, email me or ask. And if you want to pass this on to people that it might help, you're welcome to, either or all the, whatever. I have different videos for different things that are hung up. And yeah, this might help people, just that they can listen to it at certain moments and it can bring them back into a state of balance in a quite easy way if they resonate with what I do. So I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. Oh, I wanted to speak a little bit about the energy, but I guess it doesn't really matter. What matters is that we call our sovereignty, we become responsible for this energy, and we create the reality that we really want to live in. because we can do that. We're amazing. We're like alchemical. We can create our our amazing reality, and that's what I want um, to hopefully um, be able to create. So everyone to be able to create. Yeah. Okay. Well, I love you. Have a good Saturday. Thank you for being here. Bye bye.